I'm Olivia.
And I am Julia.
And this is the Hives and Lows podcast, where we talk about pop culture highs and lows, such as our favorites, least favorites, and recent pop culture happenings.
This is a podcast for people who love things as hard as we do.
Yes, it is. And this week we are talking about our top 5 favorite animated shows.
But before we get started on that, let's hop into the culture catch-up. Olivia, What happened this week?
Honestly, not as much as last week. Last week I had like a full page of notes, and this week it's like, I'm going to start out with something that we didn't talk about last time, but I did it strategically. Okay. And that is all of the Kate Middleton stuff, all the memes, my God. And everything. Yeah, the reason I waited is because A, I thought it was going to be something really serious, and it is. Yeah. And B, they were like, the royal family was like, we're going to make an announcement. And so I was like, I'm just going to hold off until we know what it is. And that was smart.
That was a good idea.
Yeah. She unfortunately has cancer. That's really horrible.
That's
really,
awful.
Really sad. And I don't know, when I was like on Twitter, I was like, I have a feeling all of y'all are about to feel bad.
Yeah.
And guess what? Yup. I don't know. I just felt real gross about some of the things that people were saying online. And I'm like, hey, guys, they don't just hide people like this unless it's for something like serious. So that's why I didn't mention it last week, even though it was literally like the main thing that was happening all over social media last week. Mm-hmm. So I just thought I'd mention that real quickly here, that's like horrible, awful.
Yeah.
And, you know, she said that she's doing chemotherapy, and I hope that goes well and everything. So just wanted to throw that out there. And next up, let's do some music catch-up from the week. I mean, you already know this, so this isn't going to be a surprise, but Olivia Rodrigo got spilled.
I literally posted it in the Zhive Media Discord. I was like, y'all, the spilled songs are so good.
I know, I saw that this morning, and I was, or not this morning, whenever you posted it, and I was like, yep, already have it written down. Yeah, 5 new songs. They were all good. Mm-hmm. She never misses. She never misses.
I am a little upset that because most of the songs are like from the like vinyl, like an extra like mini song, and I kind of wish one of them was the song that we both like, where it's like, I'm a feminist, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know what? If that means that TikTok can't copyright it, then I think that's fine.
Hey. Yep.
What is your favorite one out of the songs that she released? Like, what's your...
I need to listen to them more. I never like choose a favorite like on a first listen, because that's I always change them immediately. Like, I mean, I've obviously listened to Obsessed a million times because it's everywhere and it's good. And even before it came out it was just like, yeah. So right now that one, but I have a feeling that that's going to change, because like first couple of listens, I never pick a favorite, because I'm just like, it's going to change. Yeah. My favorites are going to change. All right. Beyonce revealed for her Cowboy Carter album, the album, the front, like the album.
Is it the album cover?
Yeah, the cover.
Oh, yes. Is that her on a horse?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I've seen memes of it, but not the actual thing. Good for her.
Yes. Good for her. Yes. Love her. Literally, I have a poster of her on my wall over there. Always love Beyonce. Also, she had a promo that was it just stuck with me, and it was on the side like of the Guggenheim Museum in New York, and it was like projected on it, and it said, "This ain't a country album. This is a Beyonce album." And I was like, I love her.
For knowing who she is.
And I was just like, I have to mention that because it's so
I need
Beyonce.
to listen to her more because, like, I listened to her songs through childhood because my dad was a fan of Beyonce, so I need to get on that. Yeah.
In other music news, new Hosier EP dropped.
Whose?
Hosier.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard that correctly, but I wasn't sure.
I'm a big fan.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of his. That spindly Irishman gets my feet a tapping and my heart a pumping. I love him. I love him so much. And I'm like glad that, you know, like that fandom thing where it's like, I'm really glad that they're getting the recognition that they deserve, but also I have the urge to gatekeep. I won't, but I do have the urge to do it. And I'm just like, I love that he's getting all this attention, but also that's my little Irish elf.
That was me when Renee Rapp just got suddenly popular. I was like, no. I was like, no. She's my Jimmy Awards winner.
Love that. Film and TV news, because that's why we're here. I feel like this is something that like if other people had or were doing like a culture catch up, they would cross this off a list of like something that they can talk about if they have time. But I feel like because it's you and me, there's no way I cannot talk about this.
Okay.
And it's because Rachel Sennett is going to be writing, executive producing, and starring in an untitled comedy pilot for HBO.
Yes.
We won.
We did
it.
Won. We won.
We won. The Oscar winner in our hearts.
Yes.
Rachel Sennett.
I can't wait. I'm glad she's getting another chance with HBO because I think she was in the failed Idol show. I never watched it.
She was. Yeah. I have another thing that connects to this that we're going to talk about in a sec.
Okay.
But that connects to that.
I know what you're talking about.
But the synopsis is a codependent friend group reunites, navigating how the time apart, ambition, and new relationships have changed them. I'm so for this.
Oh, I didn't know there was a synopsis. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Anytime that it is a show about a friend group, I'm going to eat that up.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it up. I love that. And because it's her, I already know that it's going to be perfect. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Wasn't it also this week? I don't know if I'm skipping ahead, but also Quinta Brunson is also developing a show too.
I didn't see that, but I love that because I love her.
Yeah. I remember it was around the same time that the Rachel Sennett thing came out and everyone's like, we're living in a great timeline because both of these news came out simultaneously. Yeah.
Yeah, and to think we wouldn't be in this timeline if Harambe hadn't died.
No. It's not talk people. Oh no.
That's the
Mosh,
funniest.
I blame you for this Harambe reoccurrence. This is all your fault.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, the last podcast. I'm so happy that you know that too. Just listen to the one with Sarah this morning.
Oh yeah, I need to listen to that one.
Anyway. Just let's skip on to other. I guess this is because you mentioned the Idol. That's why. Yeah. This is a connector, but Euphoria season 3 probably not happening.
Yeah, I think the only thing I've ever watched of Euphoria is the play episode, and that's because everyone was talking about it on the interwebs. So I was like, what is this?
I just am like Zendaya #1 fan, so I've been there since like day one, and I had to unfortunately sit through every episode of season 2 every Sunday because I was just like, Zendaya, this is for you, girl. But yeah, it's delayed indefinitely because Sam Levinson, it hurts to say his name even, has yet to finish the scripts. What have you been doing for 3 years? And don't tell me it's focusing on the idol.
Because you ruined the idol.
You weren't even, because you couldn't have been trying that hard. So what was going on? And the actors were given permission to take other acting jobs, and I'm like, well, yeah, the scripts aren't written, so
yeah. At least they're getting paid, they're getting jobs, and that's what matters. So
yes. Wanted to touch on this thing real quickly because I have 2 other things to talk about after this, and we gotta speed this up. But I can't not talk about this. Zachary Levi is going to be Harold in the new live action Harold and the Purple Crayon movie. What?
It looks like I haven't seen the trailer, but like I saw the poster and I was like, what?
Well, I saw TikTok and somebody goes, the baby? Harold the baby?
Like, this is the perfect time to do an animated feature of Harold, not a live action.
I would love that.
Full-grown man of Zachary Levi.
That's insane to me. And everybody was like, why does Zachary Levi take these roles where it's a child who is an adult as well? I'm like, you're right. He's done it again. Internet sort of news. Stardew Valley 1.6 update. Woohoo! Oh. I play Stardew Valley a lot. I need to play with the new update because it's got stuff like 3 new events, a new farm type, new NPC dialogue, multiple pets, and you can put hats on pets now. Something I never knew I wanted.
I need to play Stardew Valley because I'm an Animal Crossing person, so like
I'm both.
Yeah.
You can play with me. We can have an island together in Stardew.
That sounds fun. I just know that if you date a bunch of people in Stardew, you have like they all collectively come together and try to like talk to you.
Yeah. I've only dated 2 people in Stardew, and actually I'll save that for another time because it's a whole story that we don't have time to get into. The winter NPC outfits, they all got spoiled to me on Twitter, but I don't even care because I love them all. I love them all, and they're all near and dear to my heart. And then 4 new home renovations, and like I need to cut. The problem is like I could always like this weekend carve out a little bit of time to like start like a new farm with a new update but I know I'm gonna have to like realistically carve out like an entire half of a day to do that. It's so hard to stop playing. And then also the duck smoking the blunt meme taking over Twitter.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I don't know where it came from, but I love it. Every time I see it, it gets a little bit of a giggle out of me. Like, I don't know. It's something about like it's really good. Like the animation for it is really good. And now I'm going to smoothly segue into smooth animation. Hey, this episode is about our top 5 animated shows. We both made, individual lists. Like last episode we did Final Girls. This episode we're doing 5 animated shows. We made individual lists. We have no idea what's on each other's list. I always get like nervous, like right now.
I know we both do that. We're just like we don't know.
We're just like, oh my gosh! As soon as I'm like reminded that I have no idea what yours are, I'm like, oh. So, shall we start with your number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 is an interesting one because
Okay, I feel like yours are gonna be way more interesting than mine. I feel like mine are kind of basic.
Because I don't know why, but I haven't watched a lot of animated TV shows, or like I've started them, but I never finished them for some reason. It's like, I don't know. But my number 5 is Troll Hunters. Do you know what Troll Hunters is?
I know what it is. I've never seen it.
Okay.
I know what it is, though.
No, it was really funny because I was telling my friends my list because they're both like really into animation. I was like, guys, is this a good list? And my one friend goes, Troll Hunters? Isn't that the animated show that Guillermo del Toro did? And I was like, yeah, it is. For those who don't know, Troll Hunters is just about a kid who becomes a warrior for like the underground troll world that happens in his town. And it's an interesting like story and like character growth and stuff like that. Just a usual like animated television show for kids. I really like it. I think there's 3 seasons, and then there's a spin-off shows, and then there's the movie, which I don't claim. Don't watch the movie. It's awful. It redirects like everything within the show. It doesn't make any sense.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix. Everything's on Netflix, and they're kind of short like stuff. But it's really cute. It's really emotional. It's like written really well. And I think that's a lot of what I'm going to say here with a lot of the animated shows is that they're written really well. The only thing that's putting it at number 5 is that I do think it goes down in quality, as I mentioned, the weird movie that I won't mention for spoilers, but if people are listening that are fans of Troll Hunters, they will understand. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's unfortunately like a big thing that happens with a lot of animated shows is that people are like, well, it dips in quality as it goes on. Like, I'm not kidding. The only reason that I did not put SpongeBob on my list is because it gets worse as time goes on. But I love SpongeBob and it shaped my humor. But I just, I couldn't bring myself to put it on the list. It hurt a little bit to not put it on the list because it is really near and dear to my heart. But yeah, I feel like that's a lot with animated shows is that it's just like dips in quality near the end.
What they do with the rest of the series, because they do a sequel series to there's like Aliens, and like they have side characters in that, and then they grow on those side characters, and then they do another side character, and that's interesting, but the writing's just not as good as the original show. So, is your number 5?
My number 5 is Bee and Puppy Cat. I have a little puppy cat here. That. Yeah, Bee and Puppy Cat is my Discord profile picture. But yeah, I have this little puppy cat, which is really cute, and he jingles.
That's cute.
But I was like, I have to break him out for this because he just sits over there staring at me. He's just standing over there menacing me. But yeah, for those who don't know, Bee and Puppy Cat is about Bee, who's like a young woman. She gets fired frequently, and then she meets this mysterious creature called Puppy Cat who literally falls out of the sky. And Puppy Cat like teleports them to like this alternate dimension where Tempbot lives, and Tempbot gives them jobs. And the series is about their adventures taking a bunch of crazy, like surreal temporary jobs together. And it is really cute. There was a web pilot in 2013, and that's how I found out about the series. And then the whole first season was released on YouTube from like 2014 to 2016. And then it got rebooted and released on Netflix in 2022. And I have loved all of it. I'm going to be honest. I know that some people don't like the Netflix series because they changed stuff, but I think it was welcome changes. And I think that after like the 3rd episode, we start getting into like plot stuff. But Bee and Puppy Cat isn't even really like plot anything. Like it's pretty silly and surreal and like weird. And there's like obviously great emotional moments, and like the characters are really like fun and nice. But like that's one of the reasons it's like lower on my list. I do love it so much. But I also just, I think people have a problem with it being like kind of just like silly, and you kind of have to accept things the way they are. But like fans like really went through it, because we literally had to sit through so much waiting and like sitting around, and like the season 2 was announced, and then no, we don't think it's gonna happen, and then it got leaked. Season got leaked online, and then we were waiting for the Netflix reboot forever and ever and ever. And I just remember like giving up multiple times, like waiting. And I understand that like animation takes time, and they also had to jump through a lot of hoops to get this thing like, going and everything. But yeah, I just feel like, I love the animation. I love the characters. I love how it just forces you to accept the weird with like no explanation.
That's always the
like,
greatest.
It's so great. They're just like, here you go, accept it. They're just like, this is happening now. So just, I hope you can handle it. I love Puppy Cat's backstory of being like a space outlaw. Oh, I love it. I love it.
That's so iconic.
So cool. And the way they put you through like emotional whiplash with the episodes, where it's just like they'll have a super dark scene, and then they'll just have some like weird happy joke at the end of the scene. And it's just like, and sometimes, and most of the time, actually, I'm going to say it's a fart joke, and I'm like, love it. I love this show so much. You had me upset and stressing, and then you had something fart. Love it. I appreciate it deeply. But yes, that is all I have to say about being Puppy Cat. I love it. But I will also put him up here one more time because I love him. All right, what is your number 4?
So my number 4 is kind of a cheat because I haven't finished this show yet, but I do think it's really good, and it's Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Because I'm
so good.
I know, yeah. So I've been watching it with my partner, and he's like a huge Star Wars fan. So I was kind of like oh, okay, we'll see how this is. Because like I'm not a huge prequel fan, but like over the years I've been like, there's interesting concepts in it, it's just not written well. But then I started watching Clone Wars, and I was like, dang, like this is like good stuff, because it kind of goes into like stuff about the clones, and it goes into stuff about war, and it goes into that kind of like middle ground of war and the Jedi, and that's so interesting. And I don't think any Star Wars property has done that ever again. Like, gone into that kind of middle ground, at least in my perspective.
Yeah, I think that Clone Wars and like Andor are
probably, yes, 100%.
Like, yeah, probably on par with each other. Whenever
and that's why they're both my favorite Star Wars. I love Andor, so that makes perfect sense with Clone Wars. Obviously, like the animation's a little weird, but obviously it came out in the 2000s, and obviously it gets better season to season. But I just think it's so interesting of what they do with the storylines. Like, obviously they're like, the way that they're structured is like 3 story arcs or just like a one-off. But like the things that they choose to focus on is really interesting. And with Star Wars, like that's a thing that you should talk about, like what is going on. And also it's interesting to see more world of Star Wars before the Disney takeover, because obviously like we didn't have a lot of Star Wars. I mean, obviously we had books and stuff, but like before that, it's just, this was kind of the one thing, and now we have so much Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like a average fan, or I'm a big fan of Star Wars, but I would call myself, like, if we're talking like fandom wise, a pretty average fan.
Me too.
I don't like get into all of that. I just watch the movies and the shows, and that's it. But yeah, no, I agree with that pick. I mean, I didn't even think about putting it on my list, but yeah, I love Clone Wars, and it also gives me a lot of nostalgia because I watched it when I was little. But yeah, Yeah. Good number 4 pick for sure.
Yeah, and it also introduces Ahsoka. So, and I love Ahsoka. It's so funny because my dad obviously is like a huge Star Wars fan. So when Ahsoka was coming out, my dad had to constantly ask my partner like Clone Wars questions because my dad just didn't understand it. He was like, "Okay, can you explain to me? Is this a character from Clone Wars?" And it's so funny to me. So.
Was he confused when she just like appeared in Mandalorian?
No, he knew who she was. Like,
okay.
He knew that she was from Clone Wars, but I think there's some parts in Ahsoka, because I have not seen Ahsoka. I think the only Star Wars shows that I've stayed up to date on are Andor, and I think that's it. I fell off on a lot of the stuff. But, like, I believe, like, sometimes, like, the things with, like, well, it's not Clone Wars, but, like, Ezra and, like, the people in Star Wars Rebels, I think he was kind of confused on, and also sometimes with Ahsoka's story. But yeah, so.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I will watch Star Wars Rebels at some point. I have not, but I will. So what about your number 4? I'm excited to see what your number 4
is. My
is.
number 4, I think this is kind of basic, but I'm gonna just say why I love it as well.
Okay.
But it is Gravity Falls. Okay. Is my number 4. For those who don't know what Gravity Falls is, then what the heck have you been doing? But also, it's about twins, Dipper and Mabel. They go live with their grunkle Stan for the summer in the town of Gravity Falls, Oregon. Dipper finds a mysterious book in the forest, and they begin uncovering the town's mysteries every episode. It aired on Disney XD from like 2012 to 2016, I want to say. And only had 2 seasons, but boy, it felt like a lifetime for me.
Yeah, I feel like it was on for a very long time. At least when you said 2 seasons, I was like, whoa.
No, yeah, it was. Have you seen it?
So I was a person that I watched a little bit of it, but I wasn't like an avid fan. But I did watch the finale because it was such a huge thing.
Weird Mageddon. Oh my god. Take me back. Take me back. But yeah, so a little background about why I love this show. When I was like, it came out at the perfect time pretty much because I was 12 years old. I was in 6th grade and we were moving. It was a summer, like almost a summer. So we were moving on to like middle school. And I was so nervous that I was going to like lose all my friends and like things were changing. And like I was told like, you know, like you're probably like never going to talk to your best friends from elementary school, like ever again and stuff. I was so like nervous. And they were like, and people are just going to like grow out of your life. I was so afraid. So my best friend, one of my best friends ever, Jacob, who I've been friends with since 2nd grade, him and I were big fans of Adventure Time. And so we were like, a new animated show. So then we were like, oh, yeah, Gravity Falls, this looks great. And like, I think that really like helped us kind of like reassure me that like we are gonna like stay friends and like even not with like not with just Jacob. I've also had that with like other friends where we've like watched Gravity Falls together and talked about it. Like it was like a thing. Like after every episode it was like we have to sit because you know they have that cryptic code that fans could figure out at the end of like every episode. Like it was like a big thing to like sit down and like discuss the Gravity Falls episode, even if it was like a filler episode. It was like there are things that are going to connect in the future and like I don't know, like I feel like it was like really one of the shows that also got me interested in like mysteries and puzzles and like theory solving and stuff, which I obsess over now. But like I just really, really love that show. It's genuinely hilarious. Like I legitimately still, even though I've heard the jokes like 50 times, laugh out loud. Like it's so funny. It's just silly and stupid, which is great. But also they like make you care about the characters, and they give you incredibly satisfying, like, emotional payoff towards the end of the series. Like, I really love when, like, a kid's show gives you, like, emotional payoff at the end. Like, it is a good, I mean, some people, I don't know if this is controversial, but in my opinion, it is a good, like, finale. That is a very good finale episode.
I haven't heard any bad things. Do some people not like it?
I did hear that some people didn't like the back end of the second season because they were like, they feel like it was rushed because they were getting canceled. So they felt like it was, like, rushed or whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like there was still a lot of care that went into it. It wasn't like they were just like, blah. Yeah. This is the second half of the season. Blah, whatever. Like, I don't know. I really liked it. And it's just like one of those shows that was just like, I could rewatch it over and over. Me and my cousin, we used to, like, draw ourselves as Gravity Falls characters. So cute. I love that show so much. Okay, let's go on to your number 3.
So my number 3, the reason why it's not really as high is because it's not a completed show yet, but I'm caught up with it. My 3rd pick is Arcane.
Yes. That almost made my list.
Yeah, I will tell my like a backstory kind of like yours. I never heard of League of Legends in my life. I didn't know anything, and my one friend was like, "You have to watch Arcane," and I'm like, "Okay, sure." And around winter break, I got COVID, and it was the worst. This was around the time that, like, Arcane had come out, and my friend and I decided while I was quarantined just to watch it on Zoom. And this was my friend's, like, 5th time watching it, and it was my first time watching it. And it was, like, just so weird and interesting experience. And it's probably one of my favorite, like, friend memories, because, like, obviously, like, I'm sobbing over this thing, and my friend's, like, laughing and pointing at me. But it's also just such an interesting show to, like, take from a game that, like, not a lot of people like or play, and just create this whole other entity that now, since the show is so good, they're taking the lore from the show and putting it into the game. The animation is gorgeous. It's so nice. The character writing is so interesting. It's very steampunk, and, like, characters are flawed. Like, it's so good. And kind of similar with Clone Wars, like, kind of talking about war and corruption and class system, and it's so interesting. I'm so excited to see where it goes. Like, it's so cool. I love Arcane.
Yeah, I did not finish, but I will. I need to start it fully over before I finish it.
That's probably a good idea.
But the reason that I didn't finish is because I got really busy, which is usually what happens. Yeah. And then I just, like, forget that I've started something when I wasn't busy. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get back to that. I wanted to put it on the list because I really, really loved what I saw. But I was like, I just don't have enough to talk about it. Yeah. You know?
What episode did you get up to?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember. I will get back into it soon, though.
Season 2 is coming out in November, so you'll have time.
Oh, good. It. Oh, yeah, because I think I'll have a lot of time in the summer, so.
Yeah. So, then, what is your number 3?
Pretty basic also, and kind of a spoiler because I'm literally wearing the shirt, but it's Steven Universe. Have you seen Steven Universe?
I've seen 4 episodes of Steven Universe. Okay. But my friend, who is also a huge fan of Puppy Cat, is also a huge Steven Universe fan.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's just a certain breed of us. For those who don't know what Steven Universe is, Steven Universe is about Steven Universe and the crystal gems, and they live in Beach City, and they protect humanity from monsters. And the crystal gems are Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, and Steven. And yeah, they save humanity. And if I say anything else, then it's gonna be like spoilery stuff, because there is like a big old plot, like a big fat plot. But I think that's enough. But yeah, the series ran from 2013 to 2019. There was a movie in 2019, and then a limited series to finish out the story, Steven Universe Future, that ran from 2019 to 2020, I think.
Oh.
But I love Steven Universe so much. I went to a panel at Comic-Con whenever the movie was just about to come out, and oh my gosh, it was so exciting. All the voice actors were there, and Rebecca Sugar was there. And I was just like geeking out, and they sang True Kind of Love there, which was the first time we had ever heard that song, and I was just like, this is so sick. But yeah, I think, like, I don't know, Steven Universe is very interesting because I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of hate for it online. A lot of people don't like it, and I don't know why. I just don't get it. I think that some people don't like the animation. That's whatever. But like, I don't know. There's some really, like, some people said it was like too silly. And I'm like, I don't know. There's some really like mature themes and like life lessons in the show, like especially for a kid's show. Like, they really like tackle the importance of like maintaining healthy relationships in your life, like whether it's familial or like love or like, you know, or like romantic or like friendship. They tackle head on like themes of like death, grief, mortality, how to cope with that, consent, betrayal, anxiety, PTSD, depression, war. I mean, the whole thing is literally about war. And it's just like, I don't know, and there's solid character development. There's emotional beats for like each character, even the side characters. Maybe not Onion. He's just a little guy, so maybe not Onion, but I don't really remember how he was in Steven Universe Future. But like Sadie and Lars have like a whole storyline, and like episodes like focus on like Jamie the mailman and stuff. Like they really like flesh out like the Beach City like side characters and stuff, and I really love that. And I know that there's like a lot of filler, and I think that's also what puts people off from the shows, that there's a lot of filler. In the first season, I think a lot of people are like, there's just like not enough plot. And like I get that, but also it's just, why can't we just have fun?
Yeah,
it's fun.
Like, it's like filler episodes also focus more on the characters and their relationships, and I think that's what makes some filler episodes important.
Yes, I really do enjoy the filler episodes. I really like I feel like everybody has like a character they can connect with. Like when I was little, I really connected with Connie. I just love Connie and Connie's character development also. But like, I still listen to the music unironically. Like, it's like a whole like genre to me at this point, where I'm just like, I wake up one morning and I'm just like, I would like to listen to Steven all day. But like, I think in my brain, this is the first cartoon in my memory that is meant for kids on like a network TV channel that blatantly highlights LGBTQ plus characters and relationships.
Yes.
Like, I think it's very funny that like they could get away with it I don't know, I really love it, and I love like the character relationships are just like so interesting and like intricate, like the way that they go into it, like how they're written, like how all the characters, like, I don't know, just like interact with each other, and like, I just love Steven Universe. But yes, that is my number 3. So we're getting into the end zone. I don't know.
End
Sports.
zone.
I don't know. Football. Goalpost football.
Woo.
Yeah. Score. What is your number 2?
So my number 2 is Over the Garden Wall. This is a show that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
I finally watched it, I would say last year, because I've been putting it off for so long. And again, my friend that also forced me to watch Arcane was like, I'm forcing you to watch Over the Garden Wall. And I'm like, okay, I will watch Over the Garden Wall. And it was a really, really, like, surprise. Like, I knew a lot of people loved it, but, like, it was, like, a life-changing experience of just watching the show and, like, seeing what this was. And I just think it's so interesting, and, like, kind of what you're talking about with character dynamics, like, the 2 main characters, it's just such an interesting relationship, and also just such a great depiction of sibling relationship, which sadly we don't get to see a lot of times in media, and see it done, like, kind of well.
And that's why, like, sibling stuff really, like, if sibling stuff is there, it's gonna get me regardless, because not only do I have much like Wirt and Greg, much younger sibling. So it's like, yeah, anytime, like, sibling stuff is gonna get me every time. If there is a sibling situation happening on the screen, I will cry even if it's not sad.
Yeah. And, like, the voice acting is great. Like, it's a stellar voice acting cast. Like, and also it's just so imaginative too. It kind of, like, I'm not a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland, but it gives that Alice in Wonderland vibe of just, like, weird shit, but, like, it grows on it, and there's, like,
surrealism.
Yeah, and also, like, kind of like deals with those kinds of themes that you were talking about with Steven Universe, where you're like, this is happening in, like, a kid show of, like, death and, like, grief and, like, all that stuff. And, like, I was even on the edge of my seat for, like, the last 2 episodes, because I was like, oh my god,
so suspenseful.
It's so suspenseful. And then also, it's also cool that, like, the show kind of ends in a way of, like, your own interpretation of what happens. Like, it was really funny because I was like, oh yeah, guys, I finally watched Over the Garden Wall, and everyone's like, okay, what do you think happened in the ending? And I'm like, I'm just an optimist. I'll say the happier ending happened. But that's, like, I'll just be like, yeah, guys, I know this probably isn't the right answer, but I like the one that's happy. Like my friends hate me on this, but, like, I love Little Shop of Horrors. I know the director's cut is the better version, but just seeing Seymour and Audrey happy makes me happy. Did Seymour kill people? Yes, but he did it for Audrey. Anyway,
that's me justifying my favorite characters. Did they kill people? Yeah. But just the Vanessa Hudgens meme where it's like, yeah, people are gonna die.
But yeah, I love Over the Garden Wall. Also, the songs are bops too. Like, I forgot that it's like, those are also, like, same with you, of, like, one day you're just gonna listen to the songs just because you're in the vibe for it.
Yeah.
Now, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, if you don't know what that is, but it follows Aang the Avatar, Katara, Sokka, who help Aang master all 4 elements. He already knows air, so whatever, and the water, earth, fire, to defeat the Fire Nation's rule and maintain peace among the 4 nations. The series ran from 2005 to 2008 and had 3 seasons, 3 excellent seasons. It is just so good. But my memory of this show goes way, way back to when I was 5 years old. And I was just like on Nickelodeon, probably watching SpongeBob, because that's what I did spend most of my time doing. And I was like, what is this? And it was just like, and then I watched it like week to week after that. I was hooked. My mom will tell you like that she used to like find me in my room sitting in front of a cup of water staring at it being like, move please, I am a waterbender. And then like my parents used to have this big exercise ball, and you know how Aang sits on the air balls? I used to sit on it while I was watching the episodes. Like I love, oh my gosh. And like it's the first memory that I have of a show with a plot line where I sat down and I watched it week to week. Like obviously like SpongeBob doesn't have a plot line, but like I used to watch SpongeBob week to week, but like this is the first show where I was like waiting for the next episode because, you know. And then it like got me, it was the first thing that got me excited about storytelling and writing and being creative. So I'm like eternally grateful to that show for that, because I would not be like in this field if in the field that I'm in if it weren't for that. I think like Katara, Suki, and Toph were literally everything to me when I was little. I was like, I want to be all of you simultaneously. And it just like, I don't know. I think that was like the first time where like media has shown me that like women can be strong as well as emotional and empathetic. And importantly, like I feel like in this we live in a society where like it's hard for like women to make a mistake and to like come back from that. And I feel like, you know, the women in that show are not perfect, and they're allowed to not be perfect, but they're also allowed to like have room to grow. And I really love that. Also, little me gave the show points because I remember being like in love with Zuko. I was so in love with Zuko when I was like a wee child. I was in love with him. But yeah, just exceptional character development. Like every character in that show grows, and it's so good. This such smart writing, so smart. It makes me so emotional no matter how many times I watch it. That show makes me misty-eyed every single time. And if you haven't seen it and you're looking for a good show that isn't long, but it's going to take you on like a journey that pays off, like I have yet to see a more perfect finale in anything that I've ever watched, not just cartoon or animated, anything. Like literally live action too. I've yet to see a more perfect finale. And many people love the show, and I always wondered if it was like just nostalgia telling me it was good, but no, it just holds up. I watch it every couple of years, and it just holds up every single time. What about your number one?
Well, since you were just talking about Avatar, my number one is ironically Avatar The Last Airbender. Crazy.
That's crazy.
I was having problems of trying to decide between Over the Garden Wall and Avatar, but I think I just ended up with Avatar, which is probably because I just finished it for the first time. You just have completely different opposite experiences with Avatar.
I know. Which is great. I love hearing like perspective of people who did not grow up with it.
Yeah. And it's like you said, where you're like, oh, was it nostalgia? But like, no, it's like an amazingly written show. Like it is, everyone has always talked to me and been like, oh, you feel like an Avatar person. I was like, I never seen it. It got into the point.
Everybody's an Avatar person. Everybody's an Avatar person. Come on.
It got into the point that my partner kept gaslighting himself into thinking that I watched it, and I was like, you know what? I guess I finally have to watch it.
I'm a little shocked when I hear of people around our age who haven't watched it.
I know. It's like, but then that was also me. So, but I like sat down and I just was watching it every night, and it's just so good. It's hard to kind of talk about because you've already mentioned like all the amazing things with it. It's written so well. The characters are written so well because like they all, I don't like it, especially in kids media where they write characters kind of as perfect for kids because
Yes.
like and they're seen as like good kids because they're perfect, but like everyone has flaws, and if you make a character perfect, then what's the point of the show? And like every character in Avatar, just everything is thought out so well. And then also like to mention oh my god, I can't speak. Disability rep for the time that it was so good. Like I was watching it and I was saying to my friends like, wow, like for a cartoon back in like the 2000s to have a blind character and also a wheelchair user, but like that's not their whole characters, was amazing to see. And I'm sure that changed a lot for a lot of kids. And also, like, for all those characters, they're all characters of color, also. So, like, that representation also on screen is so important. And it's so good. Also, Zuko's arc is so, like, all their arcs are amazing, but Zuko's arc, so good.
So good.
It's so good. I don't think anyone can compare to that. I think after Zuko, like, that's like just one of the best written things ever. It's just so well done, and it just talks about certain things that kind of like what we've been talking about, that like handle dark subjects but do it very importantly. And also it's still also a fun show.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, why do all these kid shows tackle war? They all do.
It's almost like a lot of kids sadly have to deal with that.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Insane. I mean, I haven't watched the live action. I don't plan on it. But I did hear there was some butchering of some characters, and that makes me very sad. And that was like the main reason that I like don't want to watch it, is because I was like, I was really excited whenever they like announced the cast and everything, because they all seem like they're fans of the show and everything, which is great. And then, when the show came out, I was gonna wait because I was so nervous, because this is like something that's so special to me. I was so nervous. I was gonna watch it. I want to hear what other fans have to say. And people were just saying that it like, specifically, this is what bothered me, that they butchered Katara.
Yes.
And I'm like, you can't butcher Katara. Like, we are seeing, like, when we're focusing on Team Avatar, we are seeing it through her eyes.
It seemed, I also haven't seen it. I've only seen people review it and talk about it. And
me too.
Yeah, I don't know. We seem to have similar thoughts, like things that we watch. I don't know if you've seen the Drew Gooden video that he just recently
posted. I did. I watched it yesterday.
Okay. But I really liked the point that he brought up about this. Just shows like how the writing is that they took away. So there's a whole thing for people who haven't watched Avatar, which again, as we said in this episode, you should. Sokka, he's very overconfident, and because of him being one of the only grown-up men in his tribe,
I think he is the only one.
I think he's only, because everyone else
because they all go to war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he has a very sexist view of the world, and it's not that it's like a haha sexist joke 2000s. It's like he basically gets called out for it all the time, and that's just the way he sees the world, and that's his flaw. And then throughout the show, that is basically combated by like many strong women like Suki.
He learns. It's okay to let your characters have a point in which they need to grow, and then have them grow throughout the series. It's okay to have that happen.
Yeah. But
yeah.
because of that, for some odd reason, the showrunners for this live action was like, we're gonna take out Sokka's sexism, which first off,
when I heard that too, it made me really
everyone
upset
was like pissed off for understandable reasons.
That was the second reason where I was like, I'm gonna wait until people talk about it who are fans before I go and watch it, because it's just
and it's also like and the reason why I bring this up is because in the show, because he's not sexist, him and Suki's like relationship is so weird, and if anything, all Suki does is just stare at him longingly and is just his like love interest, which, as Drew Gooden says in his video, is even probably more sexist.
It's more sexist.
Yeah.
Than the original.
And I think also like to add on to the butchering of Katara's character just adds in also to that, where it's like, yeah, we took away Sokka's sexism, and then they were like, yeah, also we just don't know how to write women.
Let's get into my number one.
Let's get to your number
one. We're probably also going to have another long conversation about it because it's another one that you talked about before. It's very funny. We tend to have the same views on a lot of stuff because it's Over the Garden Wall.
Yay!
Yeah, you already talked about wait, did you talk about the premise whenever?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it just follows half-brothers Greg and Wirt, and they find themselves lost in a forest called the Unknown, and they go on a journey to find their way home, and they get sidetracked by characters and places and a villain called the Beast, and that's what it's about. It just ran for a month in 2014. I remember vividly, like I also have a little background on this, but I remember like vividly, I would record it and then wake up in the morning, and while I was getting ready for school, because they're so short, I would watch the episodes while I was getting ready for school. And then every year after that, we watched it to kick off fall. Like I said I think I said that in last week's episode when we were talking about Elijah Wood being in the Among Us show. I think I mentioned that I watch it to kick off fall every year, usually with my little sister. And it's not scary, but it has dark themes, dark moments, as you were saying. It's unsettling, I guess, eerie, unsettling. Where Avatar got me interested in storytelling as a 5-year-old, Over the Garden Wall got me like acting on those interests and like actually like wanting to like write and be a storyteller and like tell compelling stories and stuff, because I just thought it was so cool how like they did this in such a like, it's only 10 episodes. So, they like told like a complete story that was so good. So good. So well written. Like, it's just, and my favorite animation style is like old school, almost like rubber hose animation. And it pays homage to that. I love the art style so much. It's like my favorite. It's so cozy. It's so good. And then like, I literally say quotes from that show like weekly, like to myself, like 5 times last month. I was like, and that's a rock fact. Like just out of nowhere. And then yesterday I was on the phone with my mom and my sister, and I was like, well, ain't that just the way? I say it all the time. And I love surrealism in media. I love it. I love absurdity, surrealism. It's great. I know those aren't the same thing, but sometimes they go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. But the show has surreal moments that mix in so well with like just the vibe and the narrative, even though like on paper it shouldn't. And I'm just like, it's so smart.
So smart.
And it's so smart. And I love Wirt and his character development. so much. It's so heartwarming. It's so heartwarming. It's like one of the best I've ever seen in like a limited series, like just 10 episodes. And it was so seamless too, where like you aren't really, I love character development where you feel like you've gone through like the journey with this character, and at the end you're like, oh my gosh, they were completely different than they were in the beginning.
Yeah.
And they did it so well in this, in just 10 episodes. Like it wasn't like in my face, it was very like real to like what character, like if like as a learning growing person in real life. And I just related to his awkwardness and his anxiety. He's almost hard to watch in the beginning. He's almost like hard to watch. And I love that because it's so teenage. It's so like real to like a teenager. Yeah. Yay! Did you guys agree? Put in the comments if you guys agree. Or you can tell us on social media as well.
Yeah, thanks for listening, ramble about all of our favorite animated TV shows. Like Olivia said, tell us if we were wrong or right, or if you disagree or agree with us, by using our social media of @Zhive Media on all social media platforms. And give us a follow on our personal socials as well, and the links in the bio.
Yep, we'll see y'all next week. Until then, we've been Hives and Lows.